Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I've got something very special on this second episode of Guitar Stories. This is a 1969 Harmony H167. Is that right? I think that was accurate. Yeah. H167. Sort of a concert-sized guitar. Kind of got this Fender style 6 on a side tuning pegs, and it's in super rough shape. The cool thing about these old Harmonies is that they are built with solid wood all over. So solid wood tops, solid wood sides, solid wood backs. Back then that was it was still really, really cheap to produce it that way. So they did it, even though these are technically student model guitars, but they're all solid wood. So really, really nice mellow sound to it. Right now I have it tuned down to D standard. I had it in standard tuning, E standard, and it just felt a little bit choked. So I brought it down into D standard, and I think it really rings nicely in that tuning. So yeah, what's really special about this guitar, though, is the story that goes along with it. But let me tell you the story of my grandpa, because that kind of leads into the story of this guitar. My grandma and grandpa, for the longest time, as long as I can remember, ran a secondhand shop. And the majority of their stock they would get from garage sales, as they'd get up early every Friday and Saturday morning. They'd go out and hit all the garage sales in town, find stuff that they thought they could either clean up or just turn back around and sell in their shop. The first two guitars that I ever owned, they came from Grandpa. He had found them at garage sales, I presume, and I'd been messing around on my dad's guitar for a couple of weeks, and one day Grandpa found a couple of guitars, a really cheap electric guitar with a cheap amp, and then an acoustic guitar, a 3/4 size acoustic guitar that literally fell apart on me. The top of the guitar actually was pulling up off of it by the time I finally had to just throw it away. But yeah, those two guitars were my first guitars. They were the ones that I really started getting serious about playing on. Ever since then, Grandpa was always on the lookout for stuff for me. And he wouldn't pay very much for guitars, but every once in a while I would come to the shop or over to the house, and there would be a guitar leaning up against the wall. And I'd be like, "Hey, Grandpa, what's the deal with that guitar sitting over there?" And he would always say something along the lines of, "Well, if you want it, it's yours." It was funny because that's just kind of the way that Grandpa showed that he loved me and he was always thinking about me. It was just, the fact that whenever he could pick these things up for me, he would. And, that was great. And that's continued on even through my adult life. Every once in a while I'd come and there's a guitar sitting, up at the shop or over at the house, and I'd ask Grandpa, "Hey, what's going on with that guitar?" And he'd tell me if I wanted it, it was mine. And some of them I would keep, some of them I would clean up myself and sell. But once again, it's just a good way for me to know that Grandpa loved me. Well, we'll fast forward here. So Grandpa passed away a few years ago. They closed the shop, and I tried to make it a point to see Grandpa at least 4 or 5 times a year, if not more often. No matter where I was living, to try to see him at least 4 or 5 times a year. And I saw him on Christmas of 2019, and usually I would see him in March for his birthday. But March 2020 came, and the whole world was locked down. And so we did some video chats and things like that, but I really wasn't able to see him in person for the entirety of 2020. During that time, his health really started to suffer. And the biggest place where that was happening was in his memory. So in March of this year, I got to go and visit with Grandpa. And we had a nice visit, but he didn't know who I was. He told me some stories that I'd never heard before, but through the whole conversation, there was this just very real sense that he was talking to a stranger. So as we were saying our goodbyes and I was walking with my wife out to the car, I started to cry because this was my grandpa, and I felt like he was gone. And so I went over to his house. Now, he was not living there because he can't really take care of himself anymore. So the house was prepped for some garage sales and things, just to try to sell off some of the excess things that they had there. And I walked into one of the back bedrooms, and I saw this leaning up against a table. And immediately my mind said, "Ooh, Grandpa, what's up with that guitar over there?" And the response was equally quick in my mind: "If you want it, it's yours." And so I got permission to take it and started to get it fixed up. It was in really bad shape, completely unplayable. And between myself and a friend of mine who works at a music store, we've got it playable again. But something occurred to me when I got it back, and that is that at some point before he wasn't able to anymore, Grandpa had been out at a garage sale and saw a guitar and probably thought of me. And this is again just a way that Grandpa shows that he loves me. It's quite possible that he didn't remember me at that point, but he still knew that there was somebody in his life that loved guitars, and that this was a way that he could show his love to that person. And so it helped me to realize that even though Grandpa has changed, he still loves me. And he still shows that every way that he can. And I love that. So this guitar is very special to me because it's just a symbol. To me, it's just a reminder that Grandpa loves me. And when he's gone physically from this world, this will still be a reminder to me that he loves me. So thank you again for sticking around for that story. If you like content like this, I promise it isn't all totally emotional and kind of sappy stuff. But if you like content like this, make sure to click that subscribe button. Click the bell so that way you're notified when videos go live. I try to have a new vlog out every Monday. We've got a lot of music that is in the works right now, and can't wait to share it with you. So until then, we'll see you next week.